Swamin namaste natalokabandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdhau mamuddharatmiya kataksha drishtya rijvyati karunya sudhabhivrishtya Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Swamin namaste Jnanaswarupam nijabhavayuktam Anandamanandakaram prasannam Yogindramidhyam Bhavarogavaidyam Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Nityaya Satyaya Chidatmakaya Navyaya Bhavyaya Paratparaya Shuddhaya Buddhaya Niranjanaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. So we have been discussing the characteristics and qualities of a bhakta, who a bhakta is, and we have been constantly emphasizing on this point that although we feel that we are a devotee and we are a seeker, our seeking and devotion and our connectedness to the Supreme or the Self becomes quite prominent during our devotional and spiritual practices. But we have to remain connected to the Supreme, to the Self, during all our activities, not only the devotional and spiritual practice times, but during our household chores, during our professional duties, in our societal interactions, and in thought, speech, activities, and interaction. Always. We cannot forget that our real identity is the Self, that we are connected to the Self, that we are the Self, or that I am a part of God, I am God's, I am God's. And in Bhagavad Gita, we were taking so many shlokas where Krishna himself is saying that he, the Supreme Reality, how from him alone everything has emerged, how he is activating everything. So once we know this, we cannot forget, and we should not forget. And how will we not forget? We should be constantly attentive, constantly applying our intelligence and think about these things, and not, unnecessary matters. Think of what that we are living in this world, in this universe, with a body which has emerged from God. And wherefrom has the universe emerged? That also is from God. So the body with its all limbs, senses, its mind, intelligence, ego, etc., everything is from that source. So I think if we really understand it, to be established in this knowledge becomes very easy, as we have all our identities. We have identities with our own name, with our own qualifications, where we belong to, who are our parents, how many children we have, where I work, all these things we never forget. So why do we forget this? Because we don't think about it. And since we have not been trained to think about this, now even if we start now and train ourselves, it will take some time. That is what is called Abhyasa. That you do Abhyasa, practice. And in practice, sometimes you will remember, sometimes you will not. But if your yearning is such that I want to remain fixed in this identity, you will find that your period of forgetfulness will be slowly coming down. And even if it is becoming shorter and you do not remain your own identity, that period will be very short. And at one time you will feel you don't have to remind yourself. You don't have to remind yourself, oh, this is my real identity. Now what is happening? Most of the time we are thinking of something else. We are associating ourselves with other things. Out of those other things, some things are very necessary because we have been given a life with family, children and other things. And suppose we have to study, we have to get educated, then take a job, then young people will have to get married, then they make a family. So all these things are responsibilities and duties. But know that everything that has come our way, it has come from a source, and we cannot forget that source. So our task will now be to make an effort to remember it constantly, regularly, and intermittently, if not ceaselessly. So that is one thing I think once we understand this, it is very, very simple. What are we to think? We are to think that we are nitya yukta, that we are constantly connected, associated, and we have to think that everything is from that source. My capability, my strength, my thinking power, my qualifications, my intelligence, everything has come from that source. And every time whatever we get, say favorable incidents and unfavorable incidents, sometimes we get praise, sometimes we get blame, everything is that alone. So suppose we are praised, then we immediately think that yes, he has made me praiseworthy, that is why people have praised. When a seeker, when he is praised, he must not feel elated, but what he should feel, that am I really worthy of this praise? Will I be able to keep this praise intact always in all situations? You understand? Instead of thinking that, oh, now everybody is praising me because of this. So be worthy of that praise. And suppose you are blamed, then you see whether the blame is really true of you or not. And even if it is not true, be very, very alert to see whether subtly you have it. If not grossly, subtly whether you have it. And whoever has commented upon you, be very grateful to that person. Parikshit did that. Parikshit did not get angry with that Brahmin boy, Shamika Maharshi's son. Shamika Maharshi's son cursed him, that within 7 days he will be bitten by a snake and he will die. Parikshit thought it's a real blessing. All this time I thought that I am a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. If I am a great devotee, how could I have anger? That too towards a Maharshi. That too insulting him by taking a dead snake and putting over his neck. How could I do it? I am a devotee. So I should be adveshta sarva bhutanam, maitraha karuna evacha, and yasman no dvijate lokaha, lokan no dvijate chayah. So I should not be having this kind of feeling that, oh, the Maharshi did not even listen to me, I was thirsty, I am an emperor. He should actually stand up and receive me, welcome me, and show a lot of respect to me. Because he did not do all that, I got annoyed. So that is not a lakshana of a bhakta. He thought like this, and he thought that I used to think that I am a devotee, but I feel now, I have understood now that my devotion was not complete. And I did not have all the Bhakta-lakshanas. Also, I am very proud and egoistic. I am possessive about my feeling that I am a king, I am an emperor, I am respected by all. about my soldiers, my kingdom, my treasury, my army, my queens, my children. I'm associated more with this. That is why I did like this. So he felt that it is a blessing. So a whenever, for any seeker or devotee, my dear children, when we read these things, these are not stories. From these we have to learn. Learn what? Reading this, we should feel that we get annoyed if somebody comments. If somebody tells that, oh, you are like this, you are very clumsy, why don't you do it like this? Then we feel so hateful about that person. Till our life ends, we will be hateful about the person. So, but a devotee, what he should do? He should go and do a pranam and say that, actually you have opened my eyes. I will try to remove this. Even if it is there in a subtle manner in me, I will try to remove. Then we become a seeker. Then we become a devotee. That is why I am saying that every moment becomes an adventure, a joyful adventure of having, you're trying to attain something. Many of you are working, many of you have worked, and many of you intend to work. And you have targets and goals in your offices. These are targets and goals in your own life, with yourself, where you can find that, oh, yes, slowly I am progressing towards that. So, during activity we identify with the world and we make a difference that when we are doing some worship or anything, say this Pushpa Samarpanam, it gives lot of divine energy. The same thing you may not feel when you are in your own room or even when you are taking food. As soon as the classes are over, there is lot of chit-chatting. So why don't we feel it? I'm not saying that chit-chatting cannot be done, but don't forget that even while chit-chatting, you are associated with that Supreme. That not forgetting it is our whole aim. Not forgetting. See, there is a sloka in Mandukya Karika which says, Tattvam adhyatmikam drishtva, tattvam drishtva tu bahyatah, tatvi bhutah, tadaramaha, tattvat aprachyuto bhavet. What is it? Tattvam adhyatmikam drishtva. So that is realizing that I am the self, adhyatmikam, inside me, that I am the self, realizing it, knowing it. Tattvam drishtva tu bahyatah. And outside also in this variegated world with so much of, variety all around, different names and forms, living beings, non-living beings and all that. There also is the same self. And I am in the midst of it. It's not that I am seeing that these are all self. I am not there. My identity is not there. So, tattvam drishtva tu bahyatah, tatvi bhutah. When can he have it that? When he becomes the tattva, I am the self, so I am now infinite and infinite. You cannot even express it as a speck of infinite. When you say a speck, then there is two. So you are only one. Tatvi bhutah tadaramaha, and you rejoice in that tattva itself. Then what happens? What is the fourth line saying? Tattvat aprachyuto bhavet. Don't fall from that tattva. So here it is very easy. What Krishna is saying? That be nitya yukta. At many places he has used the word nitya yukta, ananya cheta, macchittaha. That is, be completely, wholesomely devoted to me. And constantly think about me. Your whole aim should be me. But how will we do it? That becomes a question, and this question comes up ever and ever again. Why? Because we are making a differentiation. We are considering that, God is in something, and in the rest of the time God is not there, it is world. How when God says, I am all pervading, from me everything has emerged, everything that you see, first thought should be that God has created this variety also. What a strange thing. People look for miracles. Is it not a miracle? Is it not a miracle that our body has taken birth and everything is going on? We are not controlling anything. It's growing and everything that is necessary we are getting. Similarly, the whole nature is moving forward every day. The sun is rising, sun is setting. Everything is going on. That itself is a miracle. But we do not see this as a miracle. We want to see something extraordinary and say, suppose something happens in an extraordinary manner, we say that is a miracle. And we look for so. So, that is why we should not go for mystic things at all. No mysticism is there here. It is all in the nature, in the universe where we are existing. And Krishna is giving us such kind of simple method that you just be Nitya Yukta. So he says that in the second chapter of 12th chapter, second sloka of 12th chapter, he says, Maya Veshya Mano Yemam Nitya Yukta Upasate Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Te Me Yukta Tamamataha. So he says that those who infusing me in their mind. What is this infusing me? I think I'm trying to explain it in my own way and feeling that you must understand. It is so easy that, say, I am giving a lecture. If I feel that I am giving a lecture, I lecture very well. That is an ego. When we are doing anything, whether I am giving a lecture, you are listening to it. In between, just think that I am able to speak as a speaker, that you are able to listen as a listener, the intelligence that God has given you to understand or not understand. Sometimes getting confused also, sometimes getting deluded also. Everything is from that one source. He is that source. As soon as we think like that, we become Nitya Yukta. So he says that living in this world which is God's, we have to constantly use our intelligence to remember this. I am God's and God is mine. Nothing belongs to me. Everything belongs to that source alone. And I cannot control anything. And at the same time, Krishna has told at other places that though nothing belongs to you, you cannot be idle. You have to work. And in what manner you should work? Mukta Sangaha and Samachara. Work with so much of excellence, perfection, and very excellently well you should work, but without any delusional clinging. And yesterday, like Swamiji was telling about that shloka, Yajnathat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. You remember that? The third chapter, which is the shloka number 9. Yajnathat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samachara. So, it is not all disjointed chapters. All are joined in some way or other, and it becomes a full gospel. So, he says that the world is firmly bound by actions done if it is not done as a yajna. What is a yajna? Yajna is to be doing, having the feeling of universalness for the gain of everybody. Are we doing any yajna? We are constantly working for our own gain, thinking of the family, thinking of oneself. As long as we do this in that manner, having mamatva and possessiveness, it is not a yajna. It is not an universal action. But so he says that work with that kind of a feeling. Even your household work, like Swamiji was saying yesterday, that day, that when a child is born, we should think, the mother should think that I have given birth to a citizen of the country and not my son. So we think it is my son. So you get a little bit of fever, you get anxious. A little bit, the son, will he get admission in a good school or not? You are anxious. And suppose the son doesn't study properly, you are anxious. So always we are anxious. When we think that we have given birth to the benefit of a society, a citizen have given birth to, and look after that as a citizen, I have been given the responsibility to look after this child who is going to be, who will do good for the society. In which manner? All will not go and be in the government or anything. But being a good human being, he should be a good person in the society. So the mothers can think like this. Definitely the parents are imparting us very good values, no doubt. But parents are not telling us that you should not become possessive. We see possessiveness in them. We see anxiety in them. We see that they are tense in the small family. So we don't learn how to be non-possessive about the whole thing. Nobody tells us. Only when we come to the gurus and we step into this path, we start listening and start understanding, oh, there is another way to think. Another outlook is there in this world. So, tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangas samajara. So, he says, Mai aveshya mano yemam. Aveshya, that avesha. How will that avesha come? How will we start having a love and interest for God? For that, we have to read about His glories, His magnificence, His excellences. You can read the devotional texts where you feel the devotional, splendor in Him, His leelas, His sports, all these things when you start reading, or how He is permeated everywhere. He is activating everything. Like Dhruva, when he got the vision of Lord Vishnu, a small boy wanted to praise him. But he did not know anything, no word was coming to him, he could not compose anything. So Lord Vishnu, Dhruva was contemplating in his mind and contemplating on Lord Vishnu. And suddenly that figure from the mind disappeared. So he opened his eyes and found Lord Vishnu in front of him. Wanted to do stuti, and stuti was not coming. So Lord Vishnu touched the shankha, his shankha, on Dhruva's cheek, and words came out. He started singing, and he's a 5-year-old boy. What could he have asked? So many toys, so many sweets, so many dresses, many things he could have asked. What did he say? The first shloka that he says is that, "O my Lord, you who are from whom this whole world has emerged, you have entered my being and you have enlivened my speech, which was dormant. And not only that, my hands, my feet, my hearing, my life, the life forces, everything you have enlivened. That is why I am able to exist. So pranam to you." Do we say this? You know the sloka, but do you say it? You know the sloka, every day you are chanting. Do you throughout the day any time think that, my goodness, this is why today, that is why this sloka is also very important. No? You know that. Lokesha Chaitanya Mayadi Deva. This is also in our prayer. The devotee, calls God by various names. When do we call by various names? When we love somebody. When a child is born, each will call with some name, or the mother will also call with various names. So in Jamshedpur, a new mother came with the child to be blessed by, very small child, to be blessed by Swamiji, and the whole family had come. the father of the child, then their whole family, parents-in-law, brothers, sisters, everybody, big group. So Swamiji generally takes the child on the lap and gives some sugar in the mouth of the child. So that was happening. So we are all looking. So I asked the mother, she was just next to me. I said that, iska naam kya hai? So I asked her, what is the name of the child? She looked at me, proud mother, first child, proud mother, looked at me and said, I'm telling in Hindi, प्यार से जिसको जो अच्छा लगता है बुलाते हैं. With love, whoever feels like calling him with whichever name they call him. So the main point is प्यार से, प्यार से, that is with love. That love develops. When love develops, it is the best example is mother and child relationship. But ultimately the mother also becomes possessive and all that. If the mother could let off this possessiveness, mother would have become divine. So ultimately it is the love. Love, when we hear about him, we keep on reading about him. How does the mother get that love? Not on the very first day. She will start breastfeeding, then a few days later we'll learn how to give bath to the child, how to hold the child, the neck should not fall off, then how to dress the child. By handling only the love comes. So she is handling. At that time, I think whatever she does, her only thought is the child. And even later on, the child has gone to school, the mother will do many things, but she'll remember that this time he'll come, so let me make some food. Not only mother and child, in the family. Wife will think about the husband will think about the wife. It is like that. These we remember. But this love does not grow for God. So that, I'm asking you all very proudly, happily said that, Yovanta pravishya mama vachamima. We know the sloka. We know the sloka. But that is what, even when you know the sloka, every time you are saying, manana should take place. Manana should take place. Many of you have taken to the morning and evening prayers. You do it in your house. It's very, very good. It gives that divine ambience. But don't become routinous. My dear children, I want to tell you this. Our whole sadhana becomes routinous. We feel that my part I have done. I have chanted all this, which I decided to chant. And rest of the time I can be angry, I can have raga and dvesha, likes and dislikes, anxiety, and okay, you have everything. What did Krishna say? Yesterday I read out the shloka. All your bhavas are from him. So when you become angry, after some time think, this anger-like emotion you have given me. But I don't want to be angry. I want to have that non-anger in me. So please help me to get it. So when I think, you should talk to God. God should not be somebody who is away from you. He is inside you. He is everywhere. He is inside. So talk to God. And feel that He is the best of friend with whom you can tell everything. And all these qualities, see every day, step by step, are you growing in them? What is the lack? Why I am not growing? This should be. So, Nitya Yukta Upasate, this Nitya Yuktata, this one word you remember. One word, Nitya Yukta. Am I remaining Nitya Yukta? Through my ups and downs, through my favorable and unfavorable, through my likes and dislikes. It's not that Nitya Yuktata is only during your sadhana period or in worship. And Shraddhaya Parayopetaha Teme Yuktatama Mataha. So, he says that there is a constant identity and impelled by the highest attitude and aim, Shraddha. That Shraddha should be there. Shraddha means one mind is fully, assiduously on the Supreme. So he says that he is the most united, he is the Yuktatama. Because what was Arjuna's question that you are asking me, the first sloka is, you are asking me to, all this time you asked me to contemplate on the imperishable. Now you are saying that I must have mental attunement to God or Supreme. Now, who is the better one? So he says that, first shloka he says like this. Then he says, Ye tvaksharam anirdeshyam abhyaktam pariupasate sarvatra gama chintyam cha kutastham achalam dhruvam sanyamendriya gramam sarvatra samabuddhaya te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha. He said that yes, some are there who find it easy to contemplate on the imperishable. There is not this, the way now from 7th chapter Krishna has described the Supreme, that he is everywhere and these are my forms, I am displayed like this, I am everywhere. So he says that some they want to, they feel comfortable to contemplate on the akshara, that is the imperishable, indefinable, indistinct, all-permeating, unthinkable, unchangeable, immobile, eternal. I mean, these are the qualities of the Brahman. Yesterday I chanted a shloka. There are many such shlokas. We should also give you so much of inspiration, because it is all same. When I talk like this, I myself start feeling that inspiration, There is no difference, my dear children. There is no difference. If difference was there, could Shankaracharya write so many stutis about the deities? He could not. And our Swamiji also chants everything from everywhere, from Srimad Bhagavatam to Mandukya Karika to, he will tell about the Brahma Sutra also. So, it is all the same. How you look at it. Okay, wherever you are comfortable, if you want to come, you are comfortable with imperishable, think about it. But, just like devotees must have some lakshanas, he says that you must have these qualities. In this 2 shlokas, he is talking about these few qualities, but there are other qualities also. So, don't think that you can be just contemplating on I am the self, meditating on the self, being absorbed in the self. Nothing, you will not grow in your realization unless you have these qualities. What are those? Says the sanyamendriya gramam. Your indriyas should be under your control. There is, indriyas should be, the sensory organs should be under your control. Your mind should be under your control, your senses should be under your control. Restrain them. And that is why in the 2nd chapter, Krishna has said, Ragadvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyescharan atmavashyir vidheyatma prasadam adhigachyati. That you remain in the variety which is in the world, but be beyond raga and dvesha, that is beyond likes and dislikes. To be doing so, what you need to do is that you should restrain your mind and restrain your senses. And in the 2nd chapter itself, he says how the senses, they simply steal our mind. Maybe we have resolved to do some sadhana, some introspection, something very short-lived pleasure has come, and the mind will go, indriyas will go towards that, and mind also, unbridled mind goes behind it. So he has given an example. It is like if you are not careful with your senses, it is just like the boat in a sea. When a storm comes, the boat just gets drowned. The mind will go down like this. So even a very striving seeker, a striving devotee has to be constantly alert to see that one does not become slave of the indriyas. One has to be constantly guided. That is why it is said, Mano Mayi Arpita Mano Buddhi. The buddhi should constantly act and tell. And so to make the buddhi act, you cannot be idle. You have to be introspecting and thinking. So you have to always see whether the buddhi is giving proper direction to the mind. If the buddhi resolves, the mind will have to take it. So buddhi has to be in the proper way. How will the buddhi be purified and enlightened? By constantly thinking about the self, the attributes, the aim of self-realization, the aim of God realization, and all that. So, with all the active life that we have, we are not always able to think. So I am saying that in between think, till you become Tattvi Bhutaha. It becomes your own, and you do not fall from that identity at all. You do not fall from that identity. Like that example I have given many times, a girl gets married, becomes a mother. Initially, she'll say, I'm a mother. And then after some time, has anybody to tell her that she is a mother? It will become, her identity will be, I am a mother. Nobody has to tell that she has to look after the child. So similarly, now all these years we have not made this habit. We have not got trained to make this habit. Now when we know, we should act as wise people, buddhaha, and make this habit so that we get in our identity, we do not fall from this identity. I think if you are lazy, and most of you are lazy, and most of you are lazy, and you are all intelligent in your professional world, but you do not want to become intelligent in the spiritual profession. And you are taking it as an occupation actually. It is an occupation for you. Along with everything else, you have a little spirituality in life. It is very good compared to many others, but from that occupation you should rise to be identified completely. And that can be done. A mother can remain a mother, a daughter can remain a daughter, a husband can remain a husband, a student can remain a student, but that identification, which is our real self, can be done. We do not do, because the world comes with two baskets full of things. Says, I am Shreyas, I am Prayas. Which one you want? Prayas. Because that gives us short-lived pleasures. And we don't use our intelligence to think that these short-lived pleasures are not going to give us long-lasting happiness. The happiness will be only short-lived. So, he says that Sanniyamendriya Gramam, the intelligence, one should have restraint of the senses, Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha. So, Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha. One cannot think that I know the self, I am getting absorbed and getting the self. Are you Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha? You may be, but you have to constantly check and see that whether you are gaining that more and more. When Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha, see, when people come to Swamiji, everybody feels I am loved by Swamiji. Everybody feels Swamiji is very fond of me. Everybody feels that he is my refuge. How? Sarvatra Samabuddhayaha. Because he has no differentiation. That is the thing. I am the self and I am only one. He sees everything in everybody, the sameness. And that is why. In behavior, he may have to correct somebody. He may have to advise somebody. He may have to praise somebody. He may have to sometimes spend a lot of time with somebody and with somebody not. In behavior. But in actual spiritual vision, there is no difference. Samabuddhayaha. Whether it is with the devotees, whether it is the villagers. During this our Panchavati land, I don't know whether you know about the land. It is just next to the steps which go to the temple. The next land is ours. We bought it some years back just as a buffer, because we don't want any. We were hearing that other some things, people are going to make big buildings and all that. So at that time, so many people in the village, they opposed. And because Swamiji had been fighting against these land mafias, immediately as we took that land and JCB came to level a little bit, we are not taking away the mud from that land, we are putting it there only. And land mafias, they take away the land and sell it. But some of the people whom Swamiji had stopped, taking mud from the hills. There were 5 hills here. That is why it is called Aikun, 5 hills. Out of that now 2 are there. All the 3 have been taken away by mafias. So Swamiji, we went up to the Supreme Court, and Swamiji got the verdict that cannot be. But still people, sometimes they do. So when JCB came here, there was so much opposition, and they wrongly tried to impute that Swamiji is selling land. So in the Venganeshwari center, they put up Swamiji's one big photo and put black mark on that. And in there, here also, near our land. But it doesn't matter. Swamiji is ready to, Swamiji is not having any hatred, and because he is not, we also got it from him. And when we got the verdict in our favor, Swamiji said, send somebody to tell those who were opposing that, tell them that I don't consider it as a victory. It is for the preservation of the earth that I am doing it. Don't consider that I am very happy that we have won or you have not won. So, sarvatra samabuddhayaha te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhutahite rataha. And you have to be doing activities so that it is for the interest and welfare of all, not only your small family. Not only your small family. You have to think about all, whomever you come across. And whatever you are doing in the family also, it should not be with possessiveness or ego or desire. So, these 3, and later on, see, in 18th chapter, he has given so many, one who is self-realized and is fit for self-realized. He has given so many, in short, after having discussed everything. These are the qualities he has said about a self-realized person. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto, this is 1851 to 53. Buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayam styaktva ragadvesha vyudasya cha. Integrated with intellect, pure intellect, and regulating the mind. That is, the mind and intelligence should be purified. How will they be purified? With pure thoughts and with restraint. What is the restraint? Do not allow the senses to be guided by desires, possessiveness. That the senses are seeing so many things and you just simply go there, forget all your identities, and that some things will not be good for you for your sadhana. So, buddhya vishuddhaya yukto dhrityatmanam niyamya cha. So, intellect and mind should be regulated. Sensory thrills like and shabdadin vishayam stektva, the senses should be regulated. Ragadvesha vyudasya cha. You have to leave or go beyond likes and dislikes. So, what is this? Again come to the Bhakta-lakshana, tulya ninda stuti, mana apamana, shitoshna sukha dukkheshu. That is samabhava. Whatever is the condition, have an equal vision and accept. How will you do it? By reliance. That whatever is being designed, I accept. I'll try to do better. If I am uncomfortable, definitely I will try to make the conditions better. Suppose one is having a loss of money. There is a lot of difficulty in the family. Doesn't mean that you should simply keep quiet. You should try to do something. But bereft of ego, possessiveness and desire. So, then he says, Vivikta sevi laghvashi yata vak kaya manasaha. Vivikta sevi means sometimes you resort to aloneness. Always not chit-chatting. Be alone and introspect. Laghvashi, be very moderate in your food. Yesterday Swamiji was taking that 6 chapters, that sloka. Yata vakkaya manasaha. And your body, your speech, your mind, all should be having restraint. Then dhyana yoga paro nityam. Be contemplative. And vairagyam samupashritaha. Take to vairagya. Vairagya towards what? This allurements of the senses, which will not give you any eternal peacefulness. Know that they are only short living. So constantly the mind and buddhi should introspect, and when the senses are allured, be dispassionate towards what will not give you ultimate good. Then ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham, vimuchya. That is, leave or abandon egoism. Balam is you feel you are very strong, you can do everything. Then darpam, arrogance. Kamam, lust and desire. Krodham, rage, hatred, anger. Then parigraham, not accepting gifts, not wanting that you will be constantly having good things and all that, not accepting gifts. So vimuchya, you leave them, abandon them, and become nirmamaha. Become nirmamaha. Have no mindness, no possessiveness. Shantaha. Let the mind become calm. When we practice all these things, mind becomes calm. And in that calm mind, the self reveals. Self is there. So veil of impurities, they get completely removed. Say a mirror is there. Mirror is very well polished. When I see, I can see my face very clearly. But suppose the mirror has a lot of dust, we won't be able to see it. Why? So what do? We clean up. Shine the mirror. It is like that. Because of this dust of the desire and all these things that he has said in this shloka, and in all the lakshanas. Why the lakshanas are to be cultivated? Because those are the dust. Those are the dust which keeps our mind, keeps the self veiled from our realization. Veiled. So, our one aim, we all want to realize the self, progress in this path. The step to go there is not, Swamiji used to tell me, I told you that I used to say, why I am not realizing the self. Swamiji said that it is not that tomorrow you will get up in the morning, you will have 2 horns where it is written self-realization. It's not like that. Slowly, step by step, step by step, step by step. Read all these things, listen to and introspect, assimilate those qualities, be like that. And then slowly by osmosis, looking at the Guru, watching the Guru, by osmosis you will find the self-realization qualities are slowly you are able to imbibe. So it says now, Shantaha. So every time we should be making the mind Shantaha. Now compare with the devotional qualities. All this, I have been honored, I have not been dishonored, I have been blamed, I have not been praised, and this person is very, very difficult. Always when I try to interact, I get agitated and disturbed. So Krishna is saying that to be a bhakta or a seeker, you have to become like this. And ultimately this is what he is saying, that I-ness and mine-ness and all this also in the Bhakta-lakshanas, why are we getting disturbed? Because we have this I-ness and mine-ness. Me, I should be behaved by the other like this, which I like. Is it not? X's behavior to me should be according to my expectation and my desire. That is why we get hurt. So it says that this nirmamaha nirahankaraha in Bhakta-lakshana, in the first sloka itself, adveshta sarvabhutanam Maitraha karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankara. Initially he has said, be nirmamaha and be nirahankaraha. So, vimuchya nirmamaha shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That person who has been doing all these things as a practice, he becomes fit for realization. And what that realized person is, brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kangshati. That brahma bhuta, the self-realized person, I took yesterday also, prasannatma, he becomes placid in his mind. His placidity, Vishuddha sattvasya gunaha prasada. Placidity. That placidity is not dependent on, our minds are sometimes very placid. Why? Because there is no such big problem in the life. Or whatever we have been wishing and planning, it is falling in place. So mind is very placid. This placidity is not like that. The other placidity is dependent on the situation in your life. Everything is okay, so mind is placid. Anything goes wrong, mind will be absolutely disturbed. This placidity is not dependent on anything, not dependent on any object, place, people, situation, nothing. It just comes from the Atma, the Self, God. So, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, when he is so, na shochati, na kangshati. He has no grief, neither he looks for some pleasure. What comes he takes, whatever comes he takes. Swananda Sandra Rasapana Sumatta Chitta. He remains in this world and he just, from his inside, he has Swananda Sandra Rasapana. It is from Viveka Chudamani. Living in this world, that Jivan Mukta, he has Swananda. Swam is one's own, Ananda is delight. Swananda Sandra Rasapana. That is dense nectarine joy. Dense nectarine joy he enjoys. And he drinks constantly, remaining in this world of ups and downs, waves of various kinds, wave and situations of various kinds. He remains drinking this joy, Swananda Sandra Rasapana, Sumatta Chittaha, as if inebriated by this, intoxicated by this. So he how will he have any kind of grief or any kind of, desire? Na kangshati. He doesn't look for anything because everything is the same. Then, samah sarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labhate param. And such a person is samaha sarveshu bhuteshu. He sees everything as the same. Every creature as the same. Every creature. He has. See, in Bhagavatam, when King Nimi, he was doing a yajna, there came the 9 yogis and King Nimi asked, please tell what is the ultimate good for human beings. Please tell us. So one by one the 9 yogis spoke. So he says, Hari, one of the yogis' name is Hari. He said, Sarva bhuteshu yah pashyet. The first thing that he said, there are many other shlokas, I am not taking all that. He said, Sarva bhuteshu yah pashyet bhagavad bhavam atmanaha bhutani bhagavatyatmanyesha bhagavatottamah. In this chapter, you may read it yourselves. In Bhagavatam, 11th Skandha, 2nd chapter, 45th verse to 55th verse. Those who have Bhagavatam, you can read it. 11th Skandha, 2nd chapter, 45th sloka to 55th sloka. He says, who is a best devotee? The first one he says that he who sees the self in all creatures, samas sarveshu bhuteshu, all creatures as a glory of the worshipful Lord. He sees not only as somebody, Looking at everybody, he feels that they are also the part of God, and the godly divinity he finds in everything. It's very easy for us to see a flower and think that it is divine. But it is very difficult for us to see human beings and feel that it is divine. Why? We have to practice that also. It should be a practice. Now that you are reading this sloka, when we see the beautiful, we go for sightseeing to so many places, we go. We see falls, and we see the mountains, we see the ocean, the beauty of nature. And we can think of the Supreme there, but in human beings also. So, he says, he who sees the self in all creatures as a glory of the worshipful Supreme Lord, and sees all creatures as grounded in the Lord, the soul of every being. He is Bhagavatottama, the best among the devotees. So, Samah Sarveshu Bhuteshu. Again I go back to Bhagavad Gita 18:54. So when he sees God everywhere, in every creature, he can only think. And then his behavior will change. It's not that behaviorally he will go and catch hold of a snake and keep it here. No. But you feel it, even with difficult people, those with whom you cannot, interact well. Try to feel that divinity in them, that divinity, to be seeing the divinity in everything. That is the aim of being self-realized and God-realized. Then the next one is Bhaktya Mam See, Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labhate Param. What is he saying? He's talking about all impersonal self-realization. Krishna has been saying in the 18th chapter. But he says that when he does this, that he is prasanna, he has no desire, he is not asking for anything, he doesn't grieve, he sees everything as the God himself, Samas Sarveshu Bhuteshu, he develops bhakti for me. So, where is the difference? Bhakti Yoga. In 18th chapter, he is coming and saying that bhaktim, mad bhaktim labhate param. And what kind of bhakti? Parabhakti. Parabhakti. Which doesn't depend on, when somebody has parabhakti, he doesn't want anything. He says, I am nothing, I don't want anything. I just have bhakti. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato jnatva vishate tadanantaram. And by devotion, he comes to know me, the Supreme, what and who I am in essence. And knowing me thus, in essence, he gets united with me. You get it? So this bhakti should be there. Bhakti develops. What is this bhakti? Don't think that bhakti is to go just this worship and lighting a lamp. Not that. Bhakti is the enlightened bhakti where you understand that the self or God is everywhere. We are his part. He is inside us, outside us, everywhere. In all creatures, and it is only one. Only one. There our own identity goes away. And I just want to say one thing. One day I was looking out of my window, and I'm very fond of flowers. So there was a small hibiscus tree, which some flowers were there. So I looked at them and I thought, these flowers are blooming, and they are just blooming, not to be praised, not to be looked at, they just bloom to the fullest. I should be like this. And I should also feel that I have no identity. Just like the flowers are every day blooming and then next day it is withering away. And it has only one identity, that it belongs to nature, the creator. I also want to be like that. No identity. I am one with the infinite. So, whatever you look at, you must see that divinity. Namrata is standing here looking at me for a long time. But I am quite notorious in taking more time, so I'll just chant 2 slokas and stop. It was very nice taking this subject, and I think all of you are very receptive, so I could also speak to my heart's content. Not content. I will be happy if all of you make a leap from where you are and start introspecting more and assimilate the knowledge and, go towards this realization. Virachita bhayam vrishnidhuryate charanamiyusham samsriter bhayat karasaroruham kantakamadam shirasidhehinah shrikaragraham tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhididitam kalmashapaham shravanamangalam Srimadatam bhuvi grinanti te bhurida janaah tava kathamritam tapta jivanam Shravanamangalam kaviviriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam bhuvi grinanti te bhurida janaah. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam. Tava kathamritam. It is the kathamritam, nectarine words about the Supreme. Okay.